All right, what is up, YouTube and 40? We're back with part 2 of the ARG deck list that I wanted to talk about. Lundradi picked these out. He said these were probably the second most interesting choices to talk about from today's metagame, kind of coming out of the event, because there's a lot of interesting stuff here. And with that, just general knowledge and things that are going on right now, it goes to show that the format is really interesting place. So we're starting off with Invoked Sky Striker. Now, I know the first thing I'm going to hear from people is, this isn't a true Sky Striker deck, it doesn't have Rays in it. It's using the Sky Striker engine to effectively try to curve out some of the rough matchups that the deck actually has in the metagame. I mean, granted, you know, the deck isn't terrible right now. It does kind of have issues, as a whole, just being the pure Sky Striker deck. But anyway, let's dig on into kind of what's going on here with this giant hodgepodge of cards. So we have triple copies of Alistair the Invoker. This is your core normal summon. You get the ability to add invocation from your deck to your hand, and we're starting to see that invocation's actually not as bad as we actually thought it was in this format. We have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This is also really good. There's not a lot to talk about here. It's staple. We have triple Effect Veiler, staple. We have triple copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, staple. And then we have triple Gamma and one Driver, wrapping up the monster lineup. In terms of hand traps, I'll talk about something else here in a second with the carbines. But we're on 3, 6, 9, 10, and 1 brick in terms of... We're on 12 and a brick for hand traps. Obviously, we're here to slow down the opponent, and the best way to do this is by abusing these cards. 12 hand traps with 3 imperms is really good in today's format. I've noticed the more hand traps I play, obviously you run the risk of bricking, but if you don't brick, you're going to be in a good position. Now, we are playing 2 copies of Carabine, so this is going to be an auto 2000 body that you're able to drop on the board, and you're able to search it off of Light Stage. Then Light Stage has the ability to turn off other back row. This is actually really fucking good. Carabine plus Carabine gets you a 4K if you're discarding one. These two just kind of work together. I like this. This is a really interesting choice here. And then spells, we have 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Thousand Eyes Restrict is really good. Triple copies of Invocation, and triple copies of Magical Meltdown. Nothing real needy to talk about here. These are staples. I don't know how I feel about the triple Invocation. I know a lot of people like 2, but if this worked, fuck it. Sky Striker stuff. We have 1 Jamming Waves, 1 Hornet Drones, 2 copies of Widow Anchor, and triple copies of Engage. Yeah. Nothing really too spicy to talk about there. We have 2 copies of Super Poly. Oh, this is why this deck got better. Now we're able to fuse with all of the opponent's monsters. We have 2 copies of Terraforming, 1 Light Stage. Then we have triple copies of Imperm, wrapping up the main deck. Extra deck down here. We have 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Shizuku, 1 Kagari, 1 Hayate, 1 Phoenix, 1 Boral Sword, 1 in Alistair, 1 Thousand Eyes, 1 Starving Venom, 1 Raijin, 2 copies of Purgatrio, 2 Makaba, 1 Elysium, and then we have side deck triple Ansia, 1 Violet Chimera, triple Cosmic Cyclone, triple Mystic Mine, 2 copies of Twin Twister, and triple copies of Royal Decree. The more I'm starting to see Mystic Mine in the side deck, the more that I'm definitely starting to see that decks are just using this to slow down the metagame so that they can get the turn back to their next. So, very interesting choices. Now, next up, we have a Salamangreat list. Well, Robbie, why would anybody ever play Gnome Material? It's really bad. we knew that this card was going to see play, and it really has taken the format by storm. I know a lot of people didn't like the concept of playing this in the side, or in the main even, but it's starting to show up, and that's not a bad thing. Just another card that you're able to draw off of Phantasmi, which, I mean, you can't do anything with it, but fuck it. It's another card you can draw off Phantasmi. Brick. Shit's getting shuffled right back in. So we have triple copies of Yield Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Effect Veiler to paralyze the opponent. Triple copies of Fantastical Boy. Thanos is really fucking good right now. 1 copy of Buffalo. 2 copies of Gnome Material. 1 Lady Debug. 1 Salamangreat Falco. 1 copy of the Fowl. 2 copies of Foxy. Triple copies of Gazelle. 1 copy of Jaguar. And triple copies of Spin. Down here in the spells, we have 2 Called by the Grave. Here's the triple Signet Mining. Now, there is... I was talking to another Salamangreat player today, and they said that they did relatively well the regional without Signet Mining, which is what I'm getting out of this is the deck is still fully able to function without Signet Mining. If you don't have the money to go out and drop on these, you don't necessarily have to at the moment. Which is good news for the player base, because the deck can still do things. It's just, Signet Mining rose the consistency of the deck a little bit. I mean, obviously if you get ashed here, it kind of sucks, but that's life. We have 1 copy of Foolish Bro, 1 copy of Fusion of Fire, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 2 copies of Pot of Desires, triple copies of Circle, and 1 copy of Sanctuary. Traps, we have 1 Imperm, 1 Rage, and 1 Roar. The 1 Imperm's pretty interesting, to say the least. Down here in the extra deck, we have triple copies of Sunlight Wolf, 2 copies of Helio, triple copies of Balinix, 1 copy of Phoenix, 1 copy of Ablaze, 1 copy of Boral Sword, 2 copies of Mirage Dahlia, 1 Dweller, and 1 Violet Chimera. Side deck, we have triple copies of Brankatops, triple copies of Droll and Lockbird, 2 copies of Null Nun and Blooming Dogwood. I wonder how Sad Girl did today. It's one thing I would like to ask this guy. How many times he actually boarded this in. Then we have triple copies of Twin Twister, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and 1 copy of Impro Order. Wrapping this up. Like I said, it doesn't really shock me that we got the chance to see Solid do good. I'm actually curious to know how Gnome Material did for him in the main deck. Curious to know how Blooming Dogwood did for him. And I'm curious to know if he actually really liked triple Signet Mining, because this is interesting. Also, I wonder how the 1 Imperm did for him. That's an interesting card choice as a 1-of, at least in my opinion. But this is pretty bold for a Solid player in terms of like deck design. And the last deck we have today is some Orcust. This looks fun. So we played the 1/4 Mudskipper. So during your main phase, you can reveal 1 Link monster in your extra deck, and if you do, when you Link summon this card, you can treat this card as Link material with the same name, type, and attribute as a revealed monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard as Link material, you can add 1 level 5 or higher Cybers monster from your deck to your hand. So we just like being able to change attributes and do cheesy stuff because it's for Mudskipper. Like, so what's kind of going on here? So you're just trying to get to 2 monsters, smash them together, and then do nightmare things. So we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Mudskipper, 1 copy of Corruptor Ibley. We have triple copies of Connector with 2 copies of Aqualad. This is actually really good. Being able to rip out of the hand is still really fucking good. Also, this is a 1-card starter, which I think a lot of people kind of forgot. Plus, you get the ability to rip from the hand. Then we have 2 copies of Slime Bull Skeleton, 2 Harpor, 2 copies of Orcust Nightmare, 1 Phantom Skyblaster, 1 copy of Cloak, 2 copies of Boots, 1 Candina, and 1 Carlbine. Trickstar Engine is really coming in clutch here. Spells, we have triple Called by the Grave, 1 Foolish Arrow, 2 copies of Instant Fusion, 1 Babel, 1 Orchestrated Return, 1 Rhoda, 2 Terraforming, triple copies of Light Stage. Traps, we actually have 1 Climax, triple Fogblade, and 1 Shade Brigandine. I know a lot of people were talking about just wanting to play 2 of this. It doesn't necessarily shock me that 3 of this is showing up. I also liked 1 Boots, 2 of these, but I guess it's just player preference in terms of things. But we're wrapping up the main deck at 43 cards. Doesn't really shock me. It's just this deck being good right now. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 copy of Trisbania, 1 copy of Rusty. Hey Rusty, thanks for getting us 2 Fogblades. We have 1 copy of Longrisu, 1 copy of Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 2 Nightmare Mermaid, 1 Cerberus, 2 copies of Galtea, 1 copy of Boral Sword, 1 Borolo Dragon, 2 Ding Dings, and we have 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict. Side deck here, we have triple Artifact Lancia, 2 Prankatops, triple Cosmic Cyclone, triple copies of Evenly Matched, 2 Full House, target 2 other face-up soul and trap cards and 3 set cards on the field, and destroy them. This is a counter to Mystic Burn if I've ever seen one. Then we have 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster. You can definitely see the players were definitely very prepared for Mystic Burn. And I think we're going to see this a lot this format. Just so many already prepared outs for this. And the full house is very interesting. So guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about these deck lists. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on them. And, well guys, I'm out. Take care. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanco40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.